Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to Tam's Psych Advice, where I talk to you about your Myers-Briggs type and fuse it with real life issues. And I also like to talk about psychology, and that's just my thing, and self-help topics to help you live your life better. And by the way, if you're struggling right now with a problem and you just can't figure it out, put it in the live chat or in the comments, and I might just answer it on an upcoming video. You can even throw in your MBTI type if you know it, and I'll answer it with you in mind. So, without further ado, let's get into today's topic, which is how well do you pivot? How well does your Myers-Briggs type pivot? Now, I know some people who watch my videos, they don't know their Myers-Briggs, so this can apply to anybody. But if you do understand Myers-Briggs, then you can look at it from that angle. Like, do you think some types can pivot better than others? And when I say pivot, I think of, an unexpected change, or you got to change directions, or you got to, something, a monkey wrench gets thrown in there. And so now you have to do something different. Are you good at that? Because I'm an ENFJ and I think I'm pretty bad at it. It kind of depends on the situation. If I know what I'm doing, I've got my foundation laid, then maybe it's not so bad. But if it's just a total change, or somebody rings the doorbell and I'm not expecting them to come over, that's probably going to throw me off a little bit. Like, can you give me a little warning? Can you give me a phone call? Especially if it's not something that you do all the time. If it's something that you do all the time, okay, that's cool. But yeah, pivoting, that is not my thing. I'm an ENFJ, and maybe there are some ENFJs out there who can do that really easily, but I am not one of them. And I would venture to say that, yeah, I mean, I've met some ENFJs actually who seem very like super peoply and all that. And you try to hand them something that's kind of not in their, like their day to day, and it can really, I don't think they like it too much. And of course, a great example of that is the pandemic. I mean, talk about, this was like the biggest change that anybody had to go through. I don't care if you are spontaneous, you're the greatest pivoter ever. I think most people had some level of difficulty with it, whether it was, I need to be around a lot of people, I get energy from being around a lot of people, and now I can't. That's a pivot. Or if you're like, you know what, I gotta get used to wearing this mask. This is really getting on my nerves. How do I, no matter what, I think pivoting is very, very difficult. I know for me, it was weird. It was hard. I felt like it almost changed me into a different person. Does anybody else feel that way? Like, the pandemic has kind of helped you to sort of lose touch with who you are. I feel like I'm not the same person. I even felt like the people that I was working with, I felt like sometimes they were looking at me like I was nuts. One day somebody even told me, hey, stop worrying so much. I wasn't myself. I turned into super introvert, and it's just been a weird experience. So how about you guys? How do you pivot? And, I will say, I think ESTPs, ESFPs, who else? I think ISTPs and ISFPs, I think they are the best at changing directions when something happens, or just jumping in there and just making things happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're the best at that. I wish I could be a little bit more like them. Even though I did share an office space with someone who I think she was an ESFP. That is another story, but I had to be with her during the pandemic, and I would say she did not pivot, because she said, I'm not going to let this pandemic, cause me to or influence me to change or make any changes. I'm going to keep living my life the way that I've always lived it. So I guess in my case, I did pivot. I did change my lifestyle. So actually, that's something to kind of think about, right? It's kind of because yeah, she didn't pivot at all, and it caused some dire consequences for both of us. I'm sure you can guess what that is. Maybe I'll talk about that on another, one of these that I do. But let's see, what else? Do you think it's more of an extroverted thing? Like extroverts can change directions a lot easier than introverts? I don't know. I kind of think that might be the case. Or maybe we don't know because sometimes introverts keep their thoughts to themselves and extroverts tend to just blurt out a lot of times. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm doing. This is how I feel about certain things. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that making a change in your life or changing directions, that extroverts are better at it? And what about perceivers? We think of perceivers as very go with the flow. So if, like all of a sudden, like I said, somebody comes over, you're not expecting them to. I don't think that bothers a perceiver as much as it might a J, unless that J is. But then again, there are a lot of introverts that could entertain that type of change. But what about like changing jobs, changing relationships? Are you, how do you get into new relationships? Do you enter new relationships like boyfriend, girlfriend with excitement or hesitation? Like does that throw you off? I think there were times in my life where yeah, I loved it, and then there were times in my life where I was like, "What? I gotta get used to somebody new. I don't know this person. I don't know the future. I don't know what's gonna happen." And I think that is what can make it hard for people to pivot, is just the unknown. Not knowing what's going to happen next, not knowing if you will succeed, will you fail, will you jump in and swim out, or will you drown? Like, both are possibilities. And how do you deal with failure? With failure, I think you have to keep trying. I think you can't let failure drive your entire life, because life is full of failures. We're all going to fail at a lot of things. And sometimes we learn more from our failures, right? Than we do from our successes. So, we can just be going along and everything is great as long as we're in our own lanes and we're doing things the way that we want to do them. But the moment somebody comes in and says, "Hey, we got to do things differently. I don't want to do things this way anymore," or "let me throw in a couple of new things on your job that you're going to have to figure out and do." Some people love that. They want that change. They want to go to a new place. But other people really struggle with that. Like, if you are having a difficult time on your job, like let's say you hate your job, right? How do you deal with that? Like, is it worth the pivot? Is it worth the change to, think of all the things that you would have to do. You'd have to write a letter of resignation. You'd have to do a job search. You'd have to figure out something else to do at your new job. You're going to be around different people with different skills, different Myers-Briggs types that you haven't encountered before, possibly, or in a way that you haven't encountered. And, are you good at changing when it comes to job opportunities? Or is it easier for you to just say, "You know what? I can't think that way. I'm just going to stay where I'm at and be miserable and hate what I do and just live my life in a miserable way because I can't pivot. I can't make a change." And anytime you pivot or do something different, it's going to make you nervous. I know as an ENFJ, hey, give me some time to adjust. There have been plenty of things that I've done that I hated doing. I mean, it may have seemed fun to other people, but for me, I was like, "Can you stop asking me to do that, please?" But then over time, I grew to love it. So sometimes, even if you don't like change, you got to get in there. And if you keep doing it, you might learn to love it because of familiarity. There's something about familiarity that can be a game changer. When you get used to things, it can make things so much better. So just kind of keep that in mind if there's something that you're afraid of doing. Also, how do you feel when you're going to do something new? Like, do you feel excited or do you feel frustrated? Do you feel doom and gloom? A lot of times I feel doom and gloom. And I personally, honestly, will start ruminating and thinking about things too much and overthinking. And I just have to do it. It drives me nuts until I can actually get in there and do the thing and see that, okay, I'm going to be okay. Whether I look like a fool doing it. Yeah, so I'm not, if it's something new that I think I will love, hey, that's great. Like a new ice cream or new dessert, that's fun. But when it comes to actually doing something that I've never done before, I'm usually going to hesitate. I need a little time to talk it out, talk it through. You know what I'm saying? Now, something I just heard recently, I don't know if you guys have heard that Kanye and Kim Kardashian are getting a divorce. I don't know if it's been finalized or whatever. Now, people get mad at me when I say this, but I do think Kim Kardashian is an INFJ. You are welcome to tell me what your opinion is in the live chat. If you think she's an INFJ, hey, yay. But if you don't, tell me what you think she is. I don't know. I think she's one of those people that no matter what you say her MBTI type is, she can be so polarizing that people get mad. So they don't want to be for some reason. I don't know. But anyway, something that she said was that, and this makes me think she's definitely a J. I think Kanye West is an ENTP. That's just my personal opinion. Even though on top of that, he has bipolar disorder, which I've done a video on bipolar disorder because I like doing that kind of stuff too. But yeah, so, he's got something else going on. But anyway, she said that every single year of their marriage, he has moved to a new state. Now, most of us don't have the finances to do that. But if you do, I mean, how would you feel about pivoting in a situation like that? Like right now, I think he's in Wyoming. If anybody's watching right now and you're in Wyoming, shout outs to you. Hey, what's up? But yeah, how would you feel if you had to move to Nebraska one year and then you had to move to California one year and Oregon and you had to move to New York the next year? Like, would that drive you absolutely nuts? Some people could handle that, but some people act a nut when they have to change. Like, they will act a fool. You said we were doing this at this time. Why did you change it? Which I can understand that. Timeliness, that's a whole different issue. I mean, I know I've been late to things, but really, I don't like to be too late if I'm honest with you. But yeah, some people, no, like you're trying to change my life. You're trying to make me do things differently. Are you crazy? I'm going to give you some pushback. I'm going to act crazy. Could that be the ESFJs and the ESTJs and the ISFJs? Do you think they have more difficulty with changing? I don't know. You let me know. But some people love that type of, craziness. Hey, I'm moving to a different state every single year. They love that adventure. If you're one of those people, do some NFs, maybe INFPs, ENFPs. ENFPs might be able to handle that. I don't know, but you let me know what you think. Are you good at making changes in your life? And do you think it's an important part of this life? So, I am, sorry, I'm on a time crunch, so I'm going to have to get out of here. But, just let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if there's something that you're going through right now where you're having to change and you just don't want to, or you're making some changes in your life right now and you are super excited. Like that is just your thing. If you know what your Myers-Briggs type is, let me know. And remember, if you got a problem, hey, I'm a counselor. I'll come at it from more of a life coach or like a friend standpoint, but I may just feature your problem in an upcoming video, and I'll try to do it really quickly so that you don't have to wait. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit the bell so you know when I do a new video. Bye, you guys.